Alrighty, well, I decided to just make a video of my current Azami Lady of the Scrolls deck. She is my EDH general. Her ability is tap an untapped wizard you control and draw a card. Now for sorceries, there's only two in the entire deck, and that's a Merchant Scroll to tutor for any kind of instant or interrupt and reveal it to everyone, put in my hand, and a Ponder. The only planeswalker I'm running is Tezzeret. He combos out pretty much because he will untap my artifacts as well as search for them. Artifacts he tends to search for: Mox Opal, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox. Other artifacts he's capable of searching for, of course, Grim Monolith, which there's no black borders in my town, so I don't have any. I mean, I have this one, and then my Soul Ring, which I don't even know what language that is. Mana Vault, another mana producer. Also, sometimes if I don't have my infinite hand size yet, I'll just search out my Library of Lang for a -1 Fencer's Journal, gain life while I'm continuing to do that. One of the combo pieces for this deck is having my lands tap for double, so he can also search out my Extraplanar Lens, Gauntlet of Power, which would probably kill him to do so, but I'm okay with that if I'm winning next turn. I have my Lightning Greaves. It's the only equipment in the deck to keep my favorite creatures untouchable or to give brand new creatures haste. Icecrown Scepter. I have a lot of 2 casting cost or below in the deck, as you can see the Ponder and such up there. So sticking almost anything under an Icecrown Scepter is a good idea for me. Helm of Awakening, like to keep things cheaper. Elixir of Immortality, so I can rinse and repeat in case anything goes wrong. And of course, Voltaic Keys, that I can keep untapping and retapping these artifacts to produce more and more mana. And it especially comes in handy early game, not quite late game. I only run not even a handful, but a couple of enchantments. My general is Azami, so of course I'm going to have the Mind Over Matter, which is discard a card, tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. So the trick is, I'll tap Azami, draw a card, discard, untap Azami, tap, draw a card. Either go for my combo components, or just have this guy on the battlefield and it's game. That's one of my pullouts and win conditions, but it's not the one that I like to use the most. Of course, a Leyline of Anticipation. I'm playing a mono blue deck, so if I don't counter anything, I'll flash someone out at the end of your turn. I draw a massive amount of cards, so Archmage Ascension is key. So instead of drawing a card, I'll simply tutor for a card and put my combo together even faster, or tutor for answers in response to whatever they're playing. Tap, tutor, get a counterspell, counter it. As for instants in the deck, of course I'm going to be running heavy counterspells with it being a blue deck, so let's go ahead and go over my counterspells first. Desertion, 5 casting cost. Counter target spell if it's an artifact or creature, put it into play under my control instead of in its owner's graveyard. I use this on my friends' generals, especially when I'm playing against something like Elves, Marik Barret, Sharam Hedgemon. I will take that and make sure that you're not going to combo off. Pact to Negation kind of explains itself. You think just because I'm tapped out does not mean I'm not going to counter that. Negate. Foil, once again another free counter spell. Cancel. Mana Leak, not sure on the language, but it is custom painted. Counterspell. Stoker Beetle. As you saw my large stack of artifacts, this is most of the time a 2 caster. Rewind. Spell Crumple, nothing's better than putting a general on the bottom of their deck. Dissipate. Let's go ahead and exile that key component of your deck from the game. Now, as far as my other cast, for instance, I have Trick Find, which is counter target activated or triggered ability, and it also has Split Second. So, if anyone's doing counter this, counter that to try and stop my combo, go ahead and put that on top of the stack. That'll end the stack, and it will resolve. Capsize. Once you land infinite mana, you can always just capsize everything on the board. Evacuation. I don't have a heavy creature curve. I do have a lot of them, but as you can see, most of my deck is going to be artifacts and counter spells and ways to get to my combo, which all I need is a wizard or two. So evac, return all creatures to their owner's hands. Just try and swing something at me. Boomerang, you can always snap a threat back to their hand really quick. Or, I have been known to stick a boomerang under an Escron Scepter on turn 2, and then at the beginning of their turn tap a Soul Ring and return the land they just played so that they can stay at 2 lands for the entire game. Mystical Tutor, go ahead and tutor for what I need. Brain Freeze, win condition of course. It's a mill with Storm on it, so let me go ahead and capsize one of my, like Chrome Mox or something, not Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, or if I have a Helm of Awakening out, I'll capsize my Mana Vault 10,000 times and replay it. Look at that, how many spells I've played this turn. Brain Freeze everybody. High Tide, like I said before, my combo relies on my lands tapping for double. And a Brainstorm, which is basically just another draw spell, of course. Creatures, Laboratory Maniac, which in himself is a win condition. Clone, either I like it and I want it, or I don't like it and it's legendary. Same with the Phyrexian Metamorph. Lunar Mystic, he's in the new set that comes out this Friday. I happen to have already acquired a couple of booster boxes of it though. Whenever you cast an instant spell, you may pay 1 colorless. If you do, draw a card. Of course I'm going to be using that. Keho, basically when you play him, you get to search my deck for up to 3 instants, remove them from the game. Pay X, not the blue in their mana cost, tap, and I may play a spell to convert a mana cost X that was exiled from the game by him. Once it's played, it is placed in the graveyard. Fate Spinner. Heavy aggro decks tend to either want to draw cards or have a combat or main phase. Fate Spinner will say you can pick one of the 3. Artai. Basically a counterspell on a stick, which is gorgeous. Patron Wizard turns all of my witches into a Force Spike on a stick. Sigil Tracer, he will copy any instant or sorcery spell and I can choose new targets for that copy. I'll counter this, I'll counter your counter, I'll copy your counter and counter your counter. Lighthouse Chronologist, which he tends to get leveled since I tend to have plenty of mana. And all that results in is I'm going to have a lot of turns. More turns, faster I get to my combo. Supreme Inquisitor, tap 5 untap wizards I control, search target player's library for up to 5 cards and remove them from the game. Let's go ahead and get rid of your combo pieces. Thelekos Deceiver, he is a shadow creature. Sacrifice him, gain control of target creature permanently. Use this ability if he is attacking and unblocked. The shadow creature tends to be unblocked. Curse Catcher, sacrifice him to counter target spell unless they pay 1, basically a 4 strike. Voidmaid's Husher has flash when it comes into play, counter target activated ability. Whenever you play a spell, you may return it to your hand. That's a quick shut up. Trinket Mage will tutor for all of my Moxes and many other artifacts in the deck. Even something like a Seed of Synod land. Magus of the Future, play at the top card of my library revealed, I can play that card. Very useful in a blue deck. Teferi, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that is, so let's not even go over him. Walking Atlas, strange card to have in a deck like mine, but my hand size tends to be pretty big and I can only play 1 land turn. Walking Atlas will fix that for me. Memnarch, once I get infinite mana, Palindrome. Once I get infinite mana, I'll go ahead and turn everything into an artifact and take everything on the board. Palancron, the infinite mana guru. Rain, Academy Chancellor. When you're playing a blue deck, you tend to become the target very fast, especially when they see that you're playing Azami, because everyone just goes, "Oh shit, he's playing that chick. Let's all kill him first." So my things are going to be targeted a lot. She says, whenever a permanent I control is the target of a spell or ability controlled by one of your opponents, I may draw a card. So sometimes if I don't have a counter spell in my hand, I'll go ahead and draw a card. Tap her, draw another card. We'll just go ham with this and see how well this works out for my opponent. Hisoka's Guard. Basically, I tap him and make another creature that I control other than him untouchable. cannot be the target of spells or abilities. So in response to you targeting my creature, I'll make it so you can't target my creature. Spell fizzles. Good luck. Consecrated Sphinx. Of course, you've seen the theme of I need to draw a lot of cards, especially since my general says draw some cards. Consecrated Sphinx will get my hand full and fast. Snapcaster Mage. Sometimes things are in my graveyard that I want back. Let me flash in my Snapcaster Mage, get that card back casted, and then I can even tap him if my general's out to draw a card. Or tap him into one of the many other abilities of creatures in my deck, such as Sigil Tracer. Or tap and Force Spike. Arcane is the Omnipotent. I'll go ahead and tap him and draw 3 cards any day of the week. And once I have infinite mana, if I have a Palinchron out, I will go ahead and cast him. And then of course he tends to get a pair of these on him. Tap, draw 3 cards, equip to another creature, turn to my hand, play again, rinse, repeat. Infinite mana is a bitch. And those are the creatures of the deck. And as you can see, Laboratory Maniac combined with Mind Over Matter. Wow, this is my general. Tap, draw a card, discard a card, untap the wizard, retap, draw more cards. Basically, I will infinitely draw through my deck. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and put the whole thing in the graveyard, then try and draw another card. Other win condition that you saw, of course, comes from my Palinchron. Infinite mana. Everything is an artifact, I control everything now. Palinchron produces that infinite mana. Capsize. If I don't have a Memnarch but I have a Capsize, I will go ahead and capsize and buy back everything on the battlefield that is not mine. And I will continue to do it every single turn. Tends to be a game ender. As far as lands go, my entire mana base is snow-covered islands, except for one full art island, and I'll have to fix that. But my utility lands are Mystifying Maze, exile target attacking creature, and return it to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Buried Ruin. I can go ahead and pay 2, sacrifice this, and get one of my artifacts back from the graveyard. People tend to hate my artifacts, and if I get Milled Memnarch maybe in there along with an assortment of any other artifacts, I'll just go ahead and get those back now. Halimar Depths, Scry 3, Tectonic Edge. Go ahead and peel out lands that I don't want to see anymore. Reliquary Tower belongs in every single EDH deck. If you're not playing it, it's $2, go get one. Besiege You, who shelters all. Pay 2 life, add 1 to my mana pool. If that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, that spell can't be countered by spells or abilities. What is more gorgeous than saying you cannot counter this? And a Seed of Synod. It's an artifact that is converted mana cost 0. Trinket Mage will fetch it. I can -0 Tezzeret and fetch it. I've been known to do some stupid things. And this is my Azami deck. And as you can see, there are a lot of win conditions for it, and a lot of crazy ways to get to them as fast as possible. That's why she is known as one of the most hated EDH generals.